Hi, what's up? You're watching The Sit Down on DJ Sixsmith. Simone Missick's here with us. All Rise, Ultra
All
Carter.
Rise.
You got it all going on.
I do. Just a couple TV shows with A's in the title.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
So how's life for you, given everything I just said?
It's great. It's busy. I just came back from my first NAACP Image Awards.
That must have been pretty sweet.
It was great to be recognized. I was in a, really underachieving category with like some unknowns like Viola Davis.
No biggie.
Regina King.
Just some of the goats
Angela
out there.
Bassett. Retina Wesley. It was a real sleeper category.
Yeah, not many names I've heard of there.
Yeah.
Angela Bassett, you're like, wait, how old is she now? And
Oh
you're
my
like,
gosh.
I'm blown away. It's insane.
She is so many things that have goals in it. You know what I mean? Acting goals, body goals, face goals.
No, it's incredible.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing is like you can look at all these different people and then you look at your life and you're like, there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm also proud of what I got going on here.
That's exactly the way I look at it. My husband especially was like, I wanted you to win because he's competitive.
Of course, it's your husband. It's
And
gonna rep
well,
you.
I'm glad that you were thinking about me in that way. But at the same time, like you said, it's like, these women have this breadth of careers and talent, and just to be counted among them was great. And then I know that, hopefully if I'm that age and I'm still looking good, somebody will vote for me.
Hey, why not?
Hey.
And it's a career milestone too, to be in that conversation, especially in the NAACP awards. Like that's a big deal. So what were some of the other favorite moments of the night for you?
Oh my goodness, Rihanna.
Yeah, she was out there doing her thing.
Man, listen, her speech, she was like, if you got some friends, tell them to pull up. Like, we're getting ready to go into election year, or we're in an election year.
It's a big year.
It's a big year, and, it doesn't always have to be just within the voting. It has to be with anything, anything that is your personal agenda. You want your friends to be there to support you if they support you in everything else. And so that was a great moment. Lizzo winning Entertainment of the
Gotta
Year.
love that, right?
She was so
hyped.
surprised,
Yeah.
though. Like, she did not realize, and I think everyone in the audience was like, you're Lizzo.
They're like, girl, we know.
Right, come on, girl. And she was like, me? So that was great. And then a funny moment that happened off camera, Tracy Ellis Ross started handing out hair care products because she's got this great hair care line. And so she walks up to my mom and gives her like a little pouch. And my mom's like, what's this? And she's like, hair care products. So I say to Tracy, I was like, my mom's hair is just like yours. She goes, well, here's some products for her mom. I was like, oh no, you just gave them to her. She was like, well, give me that back. So she took them back. But it was great.
Wow.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was almost like a class reunion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's it been like for your mom and your friends to see everything you've been doing? I mean, it must be pretty wild for them.
Goodness. So my parents were both with me at the award show, and they're so proud. I have a really supportive family. My brother and my sister, I always say they're like my biggest fans. They're always posting and sending me messages, and I think they have Google alerts.
They know everything that's being written about you.
They do, and so they'll send me stuff that I've never seen before. But it's really exciting. When I moved to LA, I was a baby, really.
How old were you when you
moved? I
moved
was 23.
Okay.
And, now I can say I was a baby, but then I thought I was grown. I thought
you thought you had it all figured out, right? You're like,
yeah.
I know everything.
I was like, I'm just going to move to LA and become famous in 5 years.
I'm going to get my own show.
Listen,
It'll work out, right?
and I said 5 years
Yeah.
because I was like, Gabrielle Union booked Bring It On at 28. I'm going to be 28. I'm going to become Gabrielle Union.
And then
book
you're like,
me.
oh, it hits a little differently for everybody.
Just a little later. Just a couple years after that. And so I think that for them, seeing the journey, seeing, my best friend used to help me run monologues in this park near our house on the east side of Detroit. So for them to see that trajectory from, college student studying theater to struggling actor doing theater and commercials in LA to being on billboards and buses and the lead of a show on a network, I think, they're like, we knew she could do it, but we're happy it actually happened.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we talk about that show? Because it's one thing to be on a bus and have your face on a billboard. It's another thing to be the lead of a show, especially on CBS. So what's been the best part of All Rise?
I think the best part for me has been the fans. You can make shows that you believe in, things that you think are a little bit different, kind of skewing the norm. It's not your typical legal show. It's not all one thing. It's not all drama. It's not all comedy. So it kind of toes the line. We handle things that are hot button topics politically
you guys go into
in today's
it.
climate. And so to watch the fans tune in every week, we were the biggest numbers of any freshman show of the fall. And for it to be a face that looks like mine on a network that people think does not support shows like that was amazing. Certainly a blessing. And it's just, I think, a great thing to see fans respond to different things, like the different relationships that they love. Like they want to they want to come up with name hybrids for everything.
Oh, man.
So Mark and Lola are Lomar.
You're like, guys, keep workshopping.
Right. Can we maybe come up with a Sherry and Lola are Sherlo? I mean, like they've got all kinds of different hybrids of all the friendships that they love on the show, and then people love the fashion, so they have like a fashion court Instagram page, and it's just great to see. In addition to that, I just got this great message from a young lady who said that she's in law school. She's studying to be a lawyer, and that watching the show has opened up her mind to possibly becoming a judge.
Wow.
And it's like little things like that where all of this, it's fun for us, and hopefully we're helping people, but in some ways we might be changing lives.
No question about it.
Thanks.
I mean, shows like this didn't exist not that long ago. Faces like yours weren't leading shows like this not that long ago. And that's a perfect example of how big a deal this is.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah, definitely. So what have been some other surprises about this? Like, when did you guys start to build some steam? Because it's one thing for show to be on. It's another thing to have this following where people are coming up with nicknames and stuff like that.
I think it was when they finally created an Instagram page.
There you go.
CBS was like, yeah, this year we're not doing Instagram pages.
And you're like, probably should get on there. Yeah.
Guys.
I disagree. Yeah.
And it was so funny. I stole, not stole, but I got a CBS All Rise Instagram page because I was like, listen.
We gotta lock this up.
We're not going to let you guys let it just go by the wayside.
So at what point was this? When
this
you were
was
like
week 2 before the show aired. All of us in the cast, we sat down, we had this really nice media training, and they were like, yeah, so we're just going to use the CBS, the CBS page.
Yeah.
And we were like, what? And so there was like a small mutiny amongst us, like, how can we do it? What are we going to do, guys? We all know everything happens online.
Yep.
And so I said, you know what? I'm going to get the page.
Move.
And then within maybe a week, they were like, no, we already have it we already got CBS All Rise. You got All Rise CBS, or whatever the flip is. So they had already gotten it.
All right, so they had done the legwork.
They had done the legwork.
Right. But you were just poking
They were
fun.
hedging their bets.
Right.
They were like, if the show doesn't do so well, then no harm, no foul. But once the show did well, then they released.
Now social's popping. It's like, we got to get on Instagram.
I think that they learned, and hopefully they'll never make the mistake again with another show. But I think that when the numbers came out, it was surprising, and I don't look at stuff like that.
Right.
That's just, it's too much pressure. It's too much.
I totally understand.
I just have to learn my lines and go in and say like 7 pages of dialogue believably and quickly on screen for 14 hours a day. And so for me, I don't look at that, but everyone else around me does. And so they're all like, oh yeah, numbers are doing good.
Well, it's also a great example of, I love when people are taking risks in TV, right? Because there's all the different iterations of the spin-offs of different shows, and it's like, these are going to work, but when you take a risk on something and then it works, like that goes a long way in helping the next show to get legs there. So I'm sure you guys recognize that as well.
Yeah, our show creator, he looked at The West Wing, and he loved movies like His Girl Friday or My Girl Friday. It's a little early.
It's all right. Either one.
Right. But those really fast-paced, smart characters.
Witty. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, Ally McBeal, that was such an interesting show because it wasn't a comedy. It wasn't a drama.
No, you couldn't really peg it in one.
It was like a hybrid, and it was something that people were ready for. And I think the same thing is true with our show. But it was a risk, CBS is great for procedurals, and we see those shows flourish and be on air for decades. I think NCIS, one of them is at 25 years or something.
It's crazy.
25 seasons.
Criminal Minds was 15 seasons. Yeah.
And that just, it seems unbelievable.
Right.
Like a kid could become married and have children.
Totally. Your whole life transforms, and you're just like, I'm just trying to get my show to survive and go on to the next season, right? Whereas they're just banking. It's like, oh yeah, it'll be like 8 to 10 seasons. And
no
you're like,
biggie.
wait, what?
You're like, okay.
Whole decade of my life.
Yeah. So I think that for them, taking a chance on something that was a little different was a risk. But I think that, got the reward for it to do as well as it's been doing.
So how do you look at your career? Like, you're doing the broadcast CBS thing, then you have the Netflix thing as well, where it's like the numbers are internationally based and they're all over the world, and you're going to season 2 of Altered Carbon. So what does that look like for you in terms of how you think about everything?
So for me, having the fortune of being on Luke Cage, first season was the first show that they aired in 190 countries, the first time ever, and that show broke Netflix. Like, the servers crashed. I
mean, the fans for that were so loyal and passionate.
Insane. Yeah. So having the awareness that these characters, these faces, these you know, storylines travel internationally very well was exciting. But that's Netflix, and that's Marvel, and that's a different world. You know, people can tune in when they tune in. They can binge it and be done with it and forget the entire show happened, and then come back and watch it again. You know, it's a different animal than getting people to tune in week after week after week. And so, you know, I certainly think prayer. I got a lot of old black women praying for me. I think that has helped. But it is, you know, refreshing to be in London or to be in South Africa, where I spent part of the holidays, and have people saying, like, we watch your show, we love your show, or the show is finally coming here to this country or that country.
It's not always available in these countries.
It's not always available. And so it's exciting to see people want to see it and to know that, okay, it's airing now, live, in the United States. In 3 months, it could be in Budapest. And people are like, what is this new show we've never known about?
People are hitting you up from halfway across the world.
Exactly.
They're like, what is happening? That's the craziest part of TV.
Yeah.
Just fans everywhere.
The massive amounts of fans that come from just different places. So I think that it's, you know, it's great. I can't wait for network TV to kind of make that turn as well, to make it available more places sooner. But I think that there are those things where a show can have a life years after when it had the life here because of the way that TV is distributed. So.
Yeah, I think we see that with The Office and with Friends, and people are watching Seinfeld. I mean, all these years later, people are still watching it.
And they're like, there's this show. And you're like, not new, but we love that you love it again.
That's the interesting thing. There's so much new stuff. It's almost overwhelming, right? But then it's like, oh, let's just go to the old stuff and catch an episode of this or that.
Because it's comfort.
Yes.
It's like comfort food. And so I want for All Rise to be somebody's comfort food, for them to just
I think it'll fall in that category. I mean, Luke Cage has fallen in the nostalgia category. It's like, we love this show, then it's gone, we miss this show.
Yeah.
So what was it like riding that roller coaster? And especially playing a superhero too, like, and showing different faces as superheroes must have been an unbelievable blessing.
Man, so that was my first break. It was my first big, you know, deal. It was on the 10-year anniversary of me moving to LA.
Wow.
So that whole Gabrielle Union timeline.
A little bit longer, right.
Little bit longer. But it was the best thing that could have happened to me. It was the best introduction. You know, Marvel fans, comic book fans are some of the most loyal and supportive.
Insanely loyal.
Oh my gosh. And so there was a little bit of nervousness, like, oh crap, if I mess this up, these people are going to come for me. And thank God they didn't, and they loved the character and they loved the show. And so that, to like ride that wave and to play her in The Defenders and then season 2 and then Iron Fist, you know, it was certainly gearing up to Daughters of the Dragon, which I think a lot of people were excited about, but at least we got to see those two characters, Colleen Wing and Misty Knight, come together on Luke Cage season 2 and on Iron Fist season 2. And so that was just, you know, to have your first role be one where you're smart, you're strong, you fight, you're a superhero, you're the first superhero that was ever drawn, black female superhero that was ever created. It was great, but at the same time it felt right. It felt like it was meant to be. The man, one of the people who created Misty Knight, Arvell Jones, from Detroit, which is my hometown.
That's your spot, yeah.
Yeah, and when I met him, he was like, you have no idea how happy we are that it's you. And so everything just felt like it lined up in a way that it was supposed to be that. And then going on and the show gets canceled, you're like, man, what do we have next? Like, what's the exciting thing that's going to come next? And it was Altered Carbon, which was another strong female character in this like crazy dystopian future where there are no rules. Very
far in advance, yeah.
But there are no rules. It's not like, she did this in issue blah, 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 of such and such.
It's nice like, when you're not restricted to that.
You're not restricted in the same kind of way. And so there was a lot of freedom with that character. But again, there's still a lot of nervousness on my part, like, please God, let them like this character, because it's, you know, it's not Misty Knight, it's not Lola Carmichael, it's something different. And then midway through shooting that's when I booked All Rise. And so I've just had the fortune of continuing to work. It's like, God will take you from A to Z, and you will sit on the bench for as long as you do. And now it's like, and go. And so I am enjoying every bit of it.
Are you really able to fully soak it in? Because like there is a nervousness to whether or not your show will get to a season 2, whether it's on Netflix or CBS. Like, are you able to be as present as you want to be?
I am.
Good.
You know, what's great is my husband, he's also an actor, but he has issues with patience. So he has tattooed on his arm, Journey is a destination, not, oh crap, now I've forgotten. Success is a journey and not a destination. There we go.
That's a good reminder to just look at everything.
I just look at it, I'm like, yeah, got it. But it's such a true thing. And growing up, my dad would always say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so
true.
The concept of like, and my mom, you know, when I was waiting tables in Detroit and people that I knew would come in and I'm waiting on them, and they're like lawyers and they're buying their own houses and they're, you know, she would say, Simone, you didn't go to school to be someone's employee. You went to be an artist. You went to, you know, be a storyteller. So don't get distracted by other people's success. You have your own journey. And she would send me articles about famous actresses that it took a while, like Laura Linney. It took her about 10 years. And Amy Adams, I think it took about 10 years. And so my mom just kept saying, like, just be patient. And so for me, to have this happen the way that it's happening at the time that it's happening, I can certainly look at it and go, I'm enjoying every bit of this. I'm not complaining about it. The early mornings, the late nights, the flights,
I'll take it.
All of that, I'll take it all. I waited long enough, and I dreamed about it since I was like, I mean, I got to, you know, have a full circle moment. The billboard for All Rise was in the same area where I used to wait tables when I first got to LA. And it's like, I'll take it. Like, I will take the 10 years that it took for this to happen, or the 15 for it to happen, to be able to look up and say, wow, my face is on a billboard.
And it's a good reminder of the perspective of where you were, where you're now, and where you're going to go. Because it's not the end. There's still much more to get into.
I'm still alive. By the grace of God, I hope that it continues and keeps getting better.
Absolutely. If people haven't checked out All Rise or Altered Carbon, what are some things you want people to think about your work and just those shows in general? You
know, All Rise, I think, is a great show because it's got something for everyone. We have just an amazing cast. And our writers always say that we are the show's production value. There's nothing blowing up. There are no fights. There's no explosions. It's just actors. And we have just a solid group. We call ourselves like a theater company. So every week you can tune in. You will probably cry. You might laugh. You might get very angry. But you will definitely be pulled in by these stories that are about real people, real human beings, Americans that are dealing with the same things that people all over the world are dealing with, whether it be the death of a family member and they're seeking their justice, whether it be improperly being arrested and incarcerated, and people fighting against immigration reform. And, you know, there are a lot of things that we talk about on the show, but at the same time, we manage to make you feel good about it at the end of the day. And so I think it's a show that if I weren't on it, I would still watch it and be excited to see it. And Altered Carbon, man.
Whole different ball.
Whole different thing. It's like, I watched the first season of Altered Carbon before I went to shoot the show, and I had to watch it twice.
Just to make sure you were
Just to
specific
make sure
with the language,
I got it.
Yeah.
Because it's dense. The first season is dense. Second season, they didn't have to tell as much as the backstory.
Right, they already gotten into it already.
They already got it, and so we get to find these characters 30 years past the first season, and you've got Anthony Mackie, Renee Elise Goldsberry, William Lee, Chris Connor, Dina Shahi, like this amazing cast.
Yeah, you got a really nice cast. Yeah.
Like we've got an outstanding Lila Loren. It just, the list goes on and on of the people, as well as the people who come in as guest stars. Like the person who plays my father, one of the first superheroes that was ever on television. I'm not going to tell you who he is, but once you see it,
then I'll know.
It's great. And so we've just got a great cast of actors, and the story is compelling, and We had some amazing directors. And so I'm really excited about people seeing this show, this iteration of Takeshi Kovacs and my character Trep, who is new to the storyline as told by Netflix, but obviously fans of Alter Carbon will know her. And it's a completely different person. She's described as a psychopath. So not quite a fair judge.
Right.
You know, compared to Lola. And so it's exciting.
Awesome. Well, really nice to meet you. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you
Thanks for
so
coming
much.
in. Check her out, All Rise, Season 2. When's Season 2 drop of
Season
Alter
2 on the 27th of February.
There you go.
Yeah.
All the good stuff. For Simone, I'm DJ. See you next time. All right, let's sit down.